Hello and welcome to another episode of Taking Control of Cancer, the podcast brought to you from the North East London Cancer Alliance. And we've brought the podcast on the road again to St Bartholomew's Hospital, where we're going to find out all about their new virtual tour that's really opening up the hospital to people that maybe find a visit to the hospital overwhelming. Maybe they don't know where to go, they don't know what to do, who to speak to, and this virtual tour is going to take away all of that anxiety. So we're going to talk to one of the clinicians who's been involved in the development, the idea, and we're going to talk to Jay from a company called Circus, who have been involved in the development and the actual technical side. So yeah, without further ado, let's get cracking and let's hear all about the new virtual tour. I'm here with Jay Scott-Nichols, who's the creative director at Circus in St Bart's Hospital. And Jay's going to show me around the virtual tour, but before we do that, Jay, just tell us a little bit about what Circus do.
Yeah, so we're creative technologists. Yeah. We're an agency based in London, and we specialise in immersive and interactive media. So we create solutions and experiences for brands that hopefully help solve real world problems.
For all different kinds of reasons. I saw one for the Houses of Parliament. I guess that's just a more touristy kind of thing, but obviously this is, and we'll talk to Adam a little bit later about the patient side, but it solves a real problem or addresses a real challenge for those guys.
Yeah, definitely. Adam observed many months ago when we first started talking about how some patients, particularly those who don't speak English as a first language or have accessibility needs, can find it really anxiety-inducing to find their way to appointments. And as an oncology patient, you might go to any number of different departments. So he wondered whether there was a technology solution to help them pre-visualise their route and feel more confident when they turn up on the day.
Well, let's get into it then, Jay. Let's have a little look. Let's have a little tour around St Bartholomew's Hospital.
Yeah, of course. So what we've done is, rather than dump people into a virtual tour and hope that they'll find their way around, we've set this up so it creates a personalised journey for you. So imagine you're an oncology patient. You've received a letter in the post that calls you to, be at this department at this time on this date. Follow this link if you'd like some help finding your way. And this is where you land. So you can first of all choose which language you speak. We've got the 5 most common languages spoke amongst patients at the hospital. And it then takes you through a little onboarding sequence that allows you to choose your preferences. So you can choose a video guide. If you prefer to just read text rather than listen, you can do that, depending on accessibility needs.
Is a video guide in all virtual audios in different languages as well?
Correct, yes, absolutely. In fact, we've got totally different avatars for each language.
Wow, okay.
So we've got these little AI avatars that you'll meet in a moment who will talk you through your journey. And then again, depending on your accessibility needs, you can choose the speed of motion. And then eventually you get to choose where your destination is.
Yeah.
So, for example, let's say you're heading to Clinic 1, right? You choose Clinic 1. You then choose which entrance you're using, if you know.
Yeah.
If you don't know, then it'll start you in the atrium, which is the hub for St Bart's.
Yeah.
So let's start in the King Edward Street main entrance. And it will then say that it's setting up a personalised journey for you. And from this point, you're on rails. So even if you do nothing but click next, you'll find your way.
This is the King Edward Street entrance.
Wow.
It's the main entrance to the hospital, with the nearest tube stop being St Paul's on the central line.
That's great.
So it's a journey made up of a series of 360 images that you can spin around and resituate yourself and get your bearings. And then when you hit next, it'll launch a fly-through video that takes you to the next spot.
The main King Edward Street entrance is a modern glass and steel building. Use the revolving doors or this accessible automatic door to the left. Head on through and past the reception desk. Carry on down this corridor past the toilets on the right and straight through to the bright open space of the atrium, the main hub for your onward journey through the hospital.
So you can obviously move at your own pace.
To the atrium, the heart of St Bartholomew's. From here you can make your way to any area of the hospital. You'll notice there are lots of areas.
No, those are just labels.
As well as toilet facilities and lifts to all floors. The Guild Shop is open from 8:30 a.m. until 4 p.m. during the week. And the hospital's pharmacy is open from 9 a.m. until 6 p.m. Monday to Friday. You'll see signage around the atrium which marks different destinations. Notice the one which says Clinic 1 above a brightly coloured reception desk area. Make your way there to check in.
And finally,
here you are at Clinic 1, where you can check in at the reception. It is also next to where you can have your blood tests to the left of the reception desk.
there you go. and that's taken you all the
That's
way
awesome.
from the entrance to the destination.
And it's actually dead simple, isn't it? Because you could probably go to town on this, couldn't you, and like make it really interactive. You click everything, but actually, if you're coming to Clinic 1, that's all you need to know.
Exactly. It's designed to solve a specific need.
Yeah.
And so that's why we want to make it really accessible for anybody, even those who maybe aren't that technologically savvy, again, who have accessibility needs or don't speak English as a first language.
Yeah.
And all you have to do is click next, and it takes you all the way through. So you can't really get lost. But
Even
yeah,
if-
you're right. It was tempting to make it a bit more involved. And
Even if you've got someone imagine, some of this will be people who come into a hospital is so terrifying they wouldn't even know where they're going. And I see you've got don't know where you're going here, which I guess is maybe the most important one.
Yeah, so that gives you the opportunity to really free explore. So it'll just start you in the atrium and away you go. One of the things we've been doing is collecting feedback data.
Yeah.
So we've got a survey form running, and already what's been really interesting is it's very clear that people are expressing that they do struggle with signage at hospitals. They do find it sometimes difficult to find their way, and that they find this helpful. Yeah. So we've been showing it to people all day, and the response has been really remarkable.
How much work goes into creating this? Because I imagine you guys have spent a lot of time here to build this system.
Well, yeah, we have. So thanks to my colleague Jim, we've captured a whole series of really high resolution imagery, so 360 photos, fly-through videos. So there was a production phase where we came in and shot all that over the course of 2 Sundays. Yeah. So Sunday's pretty quiet at St Bart's, so we spent some time here shooting all the content. And then it went to the development team who put together the microsite, which now lives on the Bart's website.
How does a patient access it from home? Is it on an app or is it on a website?
So it lives on the Bart's website. You can just search for it. But the main route in will be when you're invited to an appointment. Yeah. So when you get a letter, the link or the QR code will be in that letter. And indeed, they're setting up a system whereby you'll also get a text message with a link on it, so you can just click on the link on your phone. And what's also great is it's responsive, which means it works on mobile phones, and therefore if you want to bring the link on your phone and follow your journey while you're actually here, you can literally walk along the corridor.
That's mega. I think it's something that maybe a lot of people would take for granted, how terrifying a hospital can be.
100%.
Or the whole experience of going to a hospital. You don't know, maybe you know where you're going, but even if you don't, you don't know what's going to happen, you don't know what a scan might involve, you don't know what results you might get from that scan. Everything, for some people, I imagine, is incredibly terrifying, and this I can well imagine is really going to really change the experience for a lot of people.
100%. I think it's fair to say that patients have enough to worry about, and getting where they're trying to get to shouldn't be one of them.
Yeah. All right, fantastic. Well, I'm going to have a chat to Adam now about that patient side. But yeah, really good to meet you, and great to see it all in action.
Great pleasure.
So as I said before I chatted to Jay, I'm going to have a chat to Adam Januszewski here, who, Adam, you're a consultant oncologist. You can tell me a little bit from the patient point of view, first of all, kind of why this was important, what kind of challenge was it addressing?
Yeah, absolutely. So here at Bart's we care for patients across East London, which includes a whole range of different individuals from different backgrounds, communities, speaking different languages. And what we realise, and certainly as an oncologist, is when people come to see me in clinic, they've often been through quite a complicated journey. They've visited different hospitals for different tests, gone for blood tests, and by the time they see me as an oncologist, they've kind of exhausted their tether. They're kind of, their anxiety levels are really high, and actually what they when they come and see me, they want to talk about some of the complex treatment decisions that are involved with cancer care. And so what we heard is that patients are really anxious when they come and see us, and what we want to do is try and allay some of those anxieties. So by doing a virtual tour of the hospital, so that individuals can kind of familiarise themselves with whether that's where they're going for their scans or whether that's going for their appointment in a language that's their first language, then hopefully that means that they can have a more meaningful conversation about their treatments that we're offering.
Because I think it's easy to take for granted how overwhelming just simply the experience of going to a hospital can be. And I think this is probably You know, some parts of St Bart's they're quite, you know, seem quite easy to navigate, but I know hospitals that aren't. You know, I do a lot of stuff at the Christie, just a series of labyrinthy corridors, and you know, if you walk in there for the first time and you just met with a load of words you've never even heard of, a load of terms, a load of directions, and you know, just adding that level of anxiety onto just the anxiety you've got already about going there.
Yeah.
You can take that away is important.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's the first time I stepped into this hospital about 4 years ago, and I was like, wow, it's a massive, impressive hospital, but where do earth do I find my way around? And I'm a clinician that's been working in hospitals for the last 15, 20 years, let alone someone who has maybe never stepped into a hospital environment where, you know, the words, you know, X-ray, radiology are confusing. So actually really taking the patient at the centre of how we design things and showing people around. I think, you know, I know when I go and see a medical professional, I get nervous about talking about something that may be something relatively benign, let alone worrying about whether you're going to be there on time, whether you're going to get to the right place, and all those other things. And people often get there to their appointments, you know, an hour and a half early because they're worried about getting there. And so
that's my mum does that kind of thing.
And that anxiety overflows into the consultation, which means that if your mind is so worried about getting somewhere, then it means that you can't concentrate on talking about, you know, the difficult decisions about what is the best treatment for you, for example.
I think we do a lot of work on this podcast with North East London Cancer Alliance about tackling inequalities in care, but all elements of care. This seems like a really important one, that you're taking away the inequality, whether someone can read, whether it's in information they get is in their language. You know, loads of different challenges tackled by this kind of thing. And Jay was telling me about how it's delivered to patients. They're sent a message, an email with a QR code. They can, in their language, they can easily download it. It's making it just so much easier to access things.
Yeah, and like you said, this is part of a suite of projects that we're doing to try and help reduce some of those inequalities, because whether that's from the virtual hospital, because we don't want people not to attend, you know, the anxiety is a feeling that patients get, but sometimes that gets to the point where people don't turn up to their appointments, for example, because they can't find their way here and they don't want to come. So if we can overcome some of those things, reduce those individuals that maybe don't feel empowered to come to their appointments, as well as other information. We've been involved with an animations project which explains treatments in an accessible format in different languages, so actually it's really placing individuals in the centre, but actually accommodating for the variety of different people that we care for across East London, whether that's from different ethnicities, different languages, or different health literacies, because we know, you know, people get muddled with medical language and jargon. Actually, it's about boiling it down to the simple, so that we can all have a conversation.
What's been the feedback on this that you guys have had?
Oh, it's been really positive feedback. And many people said, why haven't we done this before? You know, everyone gets lost in hospitals and everyone gets anxious about it. You know, we get individuals being pointed around and people that help guide you around the hospital. But ultimately, we're moving towards a digital age, and therefore people can, you know, spend time in their own homes with their family members, looking around the hospital. And you know, if they're going to spend 6 weeks here having chemotherapy, they want to know what it looks like.
That's actually important. That family members, if you're coming to see a loved one or a relative or a friend, you can probably find out, you know, where they're going to be, and you won't have to. You know, my first wife was in hospital in the Christie going back a few years, and I can remember walking the corridors trying to find where she was. You could just pop on this and figure out where to go.
And it works on desktops, it works on phones, so it's really kind of like a thing which we'd like to see that we can use it elsewhere and things like that. And at the moment it's for the parts of the hospital which are predominantly tests and cancer, but actually we can probably expand that to help overcome those inequalities, because it's not just cancer that people are affected by in East London, it's many other conditions.
That's what I was saying to Jane. He was saying that there is potential to bolt on bits onto it. So 5 years, you could have a full interactive experience of the hospital.
Yeah, well, exactly. And when Jay and I first spoke about it, he said there is the potential to turn this into a whole virtual kind of 3D monitor actually looking around, which I think, is potentially the next step. And why shouldn't we be doing that? We'll do that in other walks of life, and we will adopt that. So have a look around your hospital before you arrive.
Yeah.
That's what we should be doing.
It's fantastic, absolutely fantastic. Thank you very much for showing it to me, and best of luck with the future with it.
Yeah, and we're taking lots of feedback, and hopefully we can let you know how we get on.
Yeah, I'd love to come back and see it in a while and see how it's developed, and maybe talk to some patients and see how they've found it and kind of what impact it's had on their experience. Because like I say, it's easy to forget how overwhelming it can be, and it's a fantastic service.
Great.
Well done.